Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 954. I am Steven in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris back in Edmonton.
Yeah, Chris is back in Edmonton now, in his own room. Warren's in a different room. Those of you watching on YouTube can see different parts of Warren's home now.
Oh boy. All right,
there are dollies to at your 9 o'clock, as I recall.
Yeah, right there. Well, there's also ones you can't see. Well,
here we go.
Here we are. Over there.
Look at that. There's some dollies right there. They might feature in future episodes of this here podcast. Yeah, so that's pretty. I think the miniscope that I saw there actually features a photo of that from somewhere. Features in the opening, the title sequence for the miniscope on this. When we do miniscopes, yeah,
that's a Jeff Fink jam, as is the fourth Doctor alternate console.
Well done, Jeff Fink. Well done, Warren, with Windows in the back, but not on Windows because we don't record on Windows. Big day here on the old podcast because we're recording this on a Friday, Good Friday, you might say.
Bad timing Friday.
Bad timing Friday.
In at least one way.
Because you know this, folks, but we don't know it yet. But the season 1 Doctor Who episode titles have been revealed. But I tell you who does know about it. Us in the future. A number of us in this podcast right now will now discuss the trailer and the new episode titles that dropped on Sunday. Hi there, past us. This is Warren. Hi, Warren. Chris is not around.
Future Warren.
Which is why we're recording. I don't know who we are. This is all timey-wimey. The rest of this episode... No, not even. The rest of this news episode was shot on Friday. We recorded a commentary back in January. This bit right now is precisely 11:30 Mountain Daylight time in the morning. We watched all 8 episode titles roll out over the course of several hours.
Excruciating.
Just to mess with us, which it kind of did. But this is the insert, and we'll talk about the trailer as well before we get back to the rest of the episode. But yes, the episode titles came out in the form of short little 4-second vignettes on Twitter.
Motion graphics. Lots of motion graphics.
We'll go through them right now. You might be able to hear them on the podcast a little bit, but we're on the YouTube looking at the 4-second things along with this episode. The first one is Space Babies with it looks like an alien kind of thing. Space Babies. Written by Russell T. Davies.
That's a bad title, but I do like that a monstrous thing is involved, because otherwise I'd be like, oh God, really?
Yeah, that's the that is the one I think that we saw the clip of with Doctor Who and Millie running through the some weird spaceship.
That makes sense.
Also, and he's got no coat on and stuff.
If this follows RTD's MO, it'll be a bunch of cheery fun until the last minute or so, where a big thing that sets up the entire season is in there. Although they kind of did with the Ruby Road anyway, but.
They did that anyway. Well, maybe we'll get back to the Ruby Road thing a little bit later. The episode 2, which we already knew the title of, it is The Devil's Cord. This one is also written by Russell T. Davies, directed by Med Chessel. This is the one with Jinx Monsoon.
And the Beatles.
And the Beatles.
And a song and dance number.
I like the
Beatles. Let me just leave it there.
We'll get to when we get to the trailer, which we will. Episode 3 is called Boom. This is the one by Steven Moffat, directed by Julie Ann Robinson. This is the one in the trailer where it looks like the Doctor was standing on a landmine and Ruby was shooting a gun or something like that.
I saw that laser and I immediately leapt to no more, and I became what I beheld, trying to tie it into old stuff.
Yeah.
For no reason, because I'm sure it's not that at all.
No. Well, try to make of this what you will. The episode 4, Warren, is called 73 Yards.
Haunted, sort of.
Which thing on the, it looks like a tree. It's written by RTD, of course, as well. Still directed by Dylan Holmes Williams, which is a name that was made up in a Doctor Who writer-producer name generator.
That snow is classic After Effects circa about 2010 snow.
That was in the little 4
It's a little unconvincing, but that's fine. It's just a little 4-second thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the one where in the trailer, that little crooked tree up on top of the... That's the one, because it looks like it was kind of like that. 73 yards, incidentally, the longest field goal attempt in NFL history. Not actually true, but... episode 5 is called Dot and Bubble.
Toil and Trouble?
Whatever that means.
I mean, that's what first thing that came to me afterwards, Dot and Bubble.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in Liverpool and it's Cockney slang.
That's what I was wondering, but maybe not. It's very futuristic or something. Written by Russell T. Davies, directed by Dylan Holmes Williams, which I always joke is kind of like Byron Reed... Nathan Turner or something. Yeah. like pick a famous poet for your first name, pick a famous Doctor Who writer as your second name, and then a Doctor Who producer as your third name, and then you have Dylan Holmes Williams as your writer. Episode 6 is Rogue, which takes place on May 8th, 1813, written by Kate Herron and Bryony.
So that's the Regency one?
That is the Regency one, episode 8, directed by Ben Chessel. Yeah, that's going to be the Regency episode with what's her name, Indira Varma as the Duchess.
Oh, right.
The mysterious
I had just watched Red Letter Media's Andor review, so that when I saw Rogue, I immediately leapt to Rogue One, which of course is nothing like.
It's not like that at all.
No.
Episode 7. Are you ready for this, Warren? Episode 7 is The Legend of Ruby Sunday. That's what it is, written by Russell T. Davies.
Apparently shot in a studio of some sort.
Well, I wonder if it ties back to, directed by Jamie Donahue, I wonder if it ties back to the Davina McCall
that was my summarizing, yeah.
In Church on Ruby Road, and that sort of all ties back together. And anyway, it is the first part of a 2-part finale, by the way. The final episode of which is a good, proper Doctor Who episode title, Empire of Death. The 4-second teaser had the Empire of Death actually replace the police box on the TARDIS.
Bad Wolf.
That's written by RTD and directed by Jamie Donahue as well. So
I immediately thought Daleks. I know there's nothing to back that up, but I just thought Daleks.
Well, you don't see any Daleks in the trailer, Warren. I'll say that much.
I'm sure they're not there. It was just what came to mind because that's what he did last time. So again, I became what I beheld.
That's true. Well, do you want to have a look at the trailer right now?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to have a look at that and go through that and a little bit? And it starts with Ncuti Gatwa directly addressing the camera. There's some similar shots. There's a lot of they're really leaning in on the Beatles one because that's one I've seen a lot. The wink is there, the sex wink.
It's more convincingly sex wink than McCoy's. Or let me put this another way. I am a straight gentleman, but I would accept his sex wink before Sylvester McCoy's.
Right. There's a nice shot of a bubble, some sort of
maybe that's Dot and Bubble.
Base. Maybe that is Dot and Bubble. Look at it. That could be it. That's Dot and Bubble. There, we've completely sussed that one. Not at all, actually. There's a snippet of the music one. The opening shot I feel like is going to be Space Babies just because it's on a spaceship. But that's a pure speculation on my
strong end of the world vibes there.
A little bit, actually. Yeah. I wonder if it's an homage.
I doubt it.
No, lots of Bridgerton shots, including a very interesting little
little sex wink action there. There's an implied sex wink for sure in this bit, a little bit here with what's his name,
with Jonathan Groff there, with the in the Regency episode.
Yeah, that's that 1,000 ships. I saw that shot and I'm like, okay, some shipping just the AO3 has just been rent asunder.
To go through that, more Bridgerton references from Ruby Sunday. That looks like Space Babies. That's more Regency. That's the TARDIS set. That's Flames. We're looking at just watching the TARDIS the thing. Walking to Abbey Road.
Yeah.
People actually saw this actually being filmed, I think, several months ago. It hit the Doctor Who set reports that they were shooting this. You can kind of clearly tell that it's not exactly modern day London because Abbey Road looks nothing like
and there's a VW bug that's sitting right there on the left.
That's true.
And a VW van actually on the right. So
the of course on the actual Abbey Road, the Beetle that's there has the 28IF on it, which a lot of people saw as 28 if he had lived during the whole Paul is dead thing. From
I forgot
the
about
60s.
all that. And having been at Abbey Road, I hope this is just like a 2-second cutaway of them just doing their saunter across the, like it's nothing. There's nothing important about it at all. Like they just kind of they're just screwing around.
I haven't been able to properly zoom in on it yet, but I think there's an L and a 28 on the back of that Beetle license plate. So it's
well, that means something. That's an homage to the proper drum set somehow.
No, it's an homage to the actual Beetle that's on the cover of Abbey Road. So they got that bit right.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Just saying, Ringo never recorded Abbey Road with those drums. Anyway, we'll get to that. So we each have our problems, Warren, with that second episode that we have yet to even see, but we have problems with it.
It's going to have a lot of theater kid energy, and I have a severe deficit that I don't want filled with theater kid energy.
I suppose. Well, there's a whole bunch of crazy space babies, some slightly creepy CGI.
They're talking
space
for some
babies.
reason.
They are. Look Who's Talking To is back. Roseanne Barr returns to Doctor Who.
Clamoring for that. That's from... Oh, God, I was going to pedant Look Who's Talking, but I have no idea. I think she's in the third one?
You're going to pedant and Look Who's Talking. That's great.
I could very well be wrong about that, and I don't care. So there's that.
The trailer continues where they're in that spaceship from Space Babies. I love that there's outfits because you can tell which is in which episode, but the TARDIS sets are more difficult. This is how we saw a brief shot of these in one of the trailers from above. Yeah, we reasoned they were tractators because
this looks dot and bubble if we're going by the design sense. I
think so. Yeah, where the elevator opens up and the actor who we saw before, who was announced at Doctor Who magazine, spoilers for later on in this episode, is encountering that monster of some sort. There's the monster from Space Babies. There's the end of the world, like they materialize somewhere where everything's been destroyed. One would sort of assume that it would be like episode 7 or 8 that this would happen, or something.
It's like the first episode of Pyramids of Mars. Now, I immediately thought to myself that I am a giant, not for the first time, hypocrite, because every time Star Trek does a giant, horrible, I don't know, giant abyss thing that's going to eat everything.
Space anomaly or something at the end
I'm
of the
always
universe,
like, God, again. And how many times has Doctor Who done the same damn thing? And here's another one. But I'll totally accept it because it's Doctor Who. I won't accept it with Star Trek, and that's kind of on me, honestly.
I know we all have our crosses to bear, so to speak. But there's shots of planets and darkness and stuff, and the similar shot of "I Will Keep Her Safe" one from the first Disney trailer. There's Doctor Who cries a little bit, but then is sort of like, "Hey, you're fun. Let's go." It's an emotional roller
coaster, not like the rest of these episodes.
Not at all. There's the 9/11 shot there.
What I did notice though is that I never noticed it the first time that they're there on the scooter on the left because which makes sense. Why would you have a bunch of peril and not have your heroes running away from it? Right. But I never really noticed that in the first trailer. But that's them in that scooter.
I never noticed that
because they're the pop of color that kind of highlights them.
Now I am scrolling back there. Oh, there they are riding through it. Yep, absolutely. So that might be episode 8 because I think Bonnie Langford turns up in episode 8 on the scooter. So
yeah, that would make sense. You'd have Unit and all the whole crew would be back and all that.
Yeah. In London,
and you'd probably bring back Donna and Rose and all the rest of them too. So
yeah,
and probably let's be honest here, 14's going to show up in a little pop in and help deal. I'm pretty sure, based on nothing except knowing how RTD does things.
I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll see.
I would not be surprised if there's a cameo.
Jinx Monsoon, we get a first good shot of Jinx Monsoon, your favorite character of season 1.
It's nothing specifically against Jinx Monsoon. It's just, it's going to be so full of Broadway dramatic hand wavery, and it just, nothing makes me more tired, except the Trump presidency.
I thought at first that Jinx was crawling up out of the TARDIS.
So did I.
No, it's over top of a upright piano is what that is with the music thing. So no worries, the TARDIS isn't lying on its side or anything like that.
That's never happened before.
No, never with somebody else crawling out of it.
There's a speech happening.
There is speech. Yeah, I feel like the interesting thing about there's the Disney one, which I think played up the spectacle and everything, whereas the BBC one is really leaning on the Doctor and Rip and who they are. They're basically introducing the characters to the new people, which I thought was kind of cool.
This is a cool shot, by the way, of him overlooking London in his natty outfit.
Yeah, I know the natty outfit is really good. I look forward to the many cosplays of that.
There's a new one in here somewhere near the end.
There is. There's the shot of Rogue from there. There's one of the I know the one you mean, and I'm going to try to pause it as best I can.
Yeah, it goes pretty quick.
It does happen pretty quick. It is on. I think it's on the tree. I'm right near the tree episode, which might be episode 4.
Here
now,
we go.
Before we get to that. So there's a shot of the Doctor performing on a mic, an old-timey ribbon mic, in front of a bunch of people. And there's a band, there's an orchestra there playing, probably in supposedly Abbey Road Studios or something like that. Warren, I tell you what, this gives me hope, because if they're playing music within an episode...
Yes.
It's not a musical, because they're actually just playing, there's a band playing, you're seeing the band playing.
Is it
then
better?
That's fine.
Yes. Is it good? No.
It might, basically.
And this is just like everybody else. I'm happy everybody else can enjoy. I know people are clamoring for this. They love musicals. Great. Wonderful. Yeah. I'm happy you enjoy it. Right. I will be zoning out and disassociating for the 2 minutes this happens, and then I'll go back to the story.
Right.
Because I know everybody else loves it, and that's great. And it's RTD's show. He can do what he wants. That's all great. But it ain't for me. So I just don't like musical interludes. Like, they're annoying 90% of the time.
It's a thing that's happened. I watched a movie that you might have heard of the other night, Warren, The Godfather. It's from 1972. It was as mentioned in Barbie. And they're at the day of his daughter's wedding, and they cut back from the Godfather having his meetings and stuff, and they go out, and like the old guy is up there, and he's like singing a song and stuff and everything.
Yeah, but
the band's playing for that basically.
I know this is splitting hairs, but that's not showy. That's part of the whole thing of a wedding, especially a big Italian wedding of that level of wealth, right? I mean, and of that time and all the rest of it, and a mafia wedding presumably. I mean, I'm not Italian. I'm making all this up, but I'm just saying it seems more naturalistic. This seems like we're going to shoehorn this in, right? And that's my main problem with musicals in the first place. The only time I can tolerate is in animation, because everything is shoehorned in by definition with animation. So I just kind of give it a pass most of the time. But with anything else, like, now they have to sing their problems. No, they don't. Nobody, just get on with it, for God's sake.
Well, I mean, as I say, there isn't really a singing problem.
I know. Whatever. I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here, but...
You are a little bit. It goes on to a shot where this kind of follows on for the first Disney trailer, where Ruby Sunday steps on a butterfly and instantly becomes, changes history and becomes a weird bug creature. Neil Gordon posted pictures of some of the makeup on that on Facebook just the other day, actually. This shot in this trailer is the Doctor actually releasing the butterfly. So clearly, at some point, they travel back.
What a relief!
And save that butterfly, and thus.
Who becomes a Ranny and Susan's mom for some reason.
Avert the path, yeah. Oh, what does that butterfly become, though? Jinx Monsoon?
I really doubt it. I hope not. That seems silly.
Probably not. There's more singing there. We saw brief clips of it.
The Life Aquatic outfit is what I'm calling it.
It is kind of the Life Aquatic. I sort of I can't do it, but I sort of honestly I had Sarah Jane Smith in Sontaran Experiment vibes from it.
A little bit, yeah. I doubt
Yellow
it.
coat?
I think that's about as likely as Life Aquatic. By the way, this is giving Wrath of Khan vibes, because that is a chest, sir.
Right, exactly. That's all Ncuti Gatwa as he addresses the camera at the beginning, at the end, and that is just the beginning, he says. And then that is the end of the trailer that dropped on BBC One. I think I don't know if it aired on BBC One. It's certainly aired
YouTube,
on
for sure. That's where I saw
on YouTube and on socials and stuff like that. So yeah, look at that. We were spoiled, Warren. 2 trailers in the course of a week.
Madness.
It's only March.
Utter madness.
And
we'll be bored of this show before it airs.
Here's what I like about it. I mean, apart from Unit, which is the one tie over, I guess. Like, there is nothing in these trailers that is related to anything that's happened in Doctor Who before.
Feels familiar but shiny, if that makes any sense.
It reminds me of when they were plugging the Jodie Whittaker first season, and it too had but they did it in an entirely different way, and like the way the line of thinking was like, oh, you don't have to have watched any Doctor Who before to enjoy this. It's almost like, don't watch Doctor Who. It's fine if you hate it. Maybe try this. Whereas this is like, get excited for Doctor Who, We're not even going to refer to anything that's happened in the past.
Well, here's something I thought about with that, and this will refer to a podcast that you edit, Random Trek, the latest one that came out. They were talking about Enterprise, an Enterprise episode, Deadless, I think it is, and they were talking about how that was the show, and the J.J. Abrams films are like this too, where they don't want to actually admit that they're Star Trek. It's made by, and actually a lot of the new stuff is made by people who you suspect don't actually know what Trek is or even like it. The difference here is, and with Chibnall too, like he may have done it differently, but both him and RTD are people who love Doctor Who, and you can feel that difference as opposed to like, oh, these are people making Star Trek because they're doing a job. And I'm unfairly focusing on Star Trek. I'm sure there's a million other examples of this, but you can tell when people who love whatever the thing is, like let's say a soap opera. People who love making soap operas, you can tell the difference, even though it's essentially the same template of stuff as any other soap. You know what I mean? Like pick anything. Or here's actually another example. When I went down to Nashville for work, I don't particularly, in fact, I dislike country music, but it is the best place in possibly the world, definitely America, to see up and coming, really skilled people do. So I walked, and you pay $5 to walk into any old, I think they're called honky tonks. I could be wrong, but anyway, they're all lining up and down. I walked in, I'm like, these people are at the top of their game. Do I like it? Who cares? They're still at the top of their game. You know what I mean? And they clearly love what they're doing, so it's fun to watch anyway.
Before they get chewed up and spit out by the National Country Machine.
Exactly. Well, that's not even, we're not even joking. That's precisely what will happen.
That's not at all.
So if somebody like RTD gets through the gauntlet of that and comes out with this, that's even more of a miracle.
Quite something. Yeah. Buy Beyonce's new album, Cowboy Country. I don't just drop
Country Carter.
What's it called? Country Carter.
You do the two least qualified people to talk about it.
Oh boy,
I have no idea. I mean, if she's a very attractive woman, if I see her in a video in a cowboy hat, I'm all for that. But and I'm sure it's a great album. It's just I'm not a country guy, so
no. Can't abide that country and western music, to quote David Rash in The Loop. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a bit. One bit of news as well. They announced that what's her name, Golda Rosheuvel from Bridgerton, another Bridgerton. They're collecting all the Bridgerton actors. No, she's in episode 1, Space Babies. They released an official photo standing in front of a bank of monitors, so she'll be in episode 1 on the premiere day. They announced all 8 episode titles, as well as confirming, as we talked about earlier in this episode, that the 2-part finale will spread out over 2 weeks. So it's 7 weeks. But the last 2 episodes are 2 parts for that. So,
will it be a cliffhanger to next year, I wonder? Because I already have most of that shot.
Good question. They could do it. They could do it. We'll probably get a trailer right after that. Looking ahead to the end of this current season, we could probably see a trailer for the next Christmas
Hopefully
special.
Telling us who all the stars are that we don't know.
Oh, I would love that. Anyway. That's it. That's it for this special insert. We return you now to our regularly scheduled programming. Wow, what an amazing collection of titles we had there.
Every title a swear word. It's incredible. How'd they do it?
I was not expecting that.
I'm just looking forward to comparing that leaked list of titles from
Gallifrey Base, Bone
from Reddit some months back, just to see how close they are.
I will tell you this much.
Or the leaked list of plot lines, depending on what we got from the trailer and whatnot. But
I copied and pasted that list, and I think I heard this is Friday me saying this, not Sunday me. I think I heard what the episode 1 title was going to be, and the episode 2 title was Devil's Cord, and of course the Church on Ruby Road, and that list was batting 0 for 3 by my metrics. So
somebody I read was wrong.
It's stunning. It's stunning. Maybe that list was compiled by AI. We'll get into that.
No, that's just simple human dumbness. Don't even need a machine to help.
Or just like, look at me, I'm saying something, you're going to listen. And
well, that second part's wrong, I'm not.
And then probably forget all about it before it actually, they get called on it.
That's true. That's true. So glad we can finally talk about this.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Did you know that? Anyway, the BBC teased that. By the way, the one thing we do know is that there's a lovely picture of Shooty Gatwa in the doors, saying, "Hey, trailer on and stuff on Sunday." So that picture is old news, but looking at Shooty Gatwa in that outfit is never old news. High-waisted trousers.
Fashionable guy.
Look at that. I know. Look at that high-waisted trousers. That is like, whenever you watch an old movie and like a gentleman takes his coat off, what he's got is like
It might be cool for all I know.
Vincent Price. Like, oh well, I don't know.
I mean, it is when he wears it. So
none of us are involved in fashion shows or like fashion magazines
or fashion for that matter.
Or fashion.
No, but I got long legs. I'm 6'4". Chris, you're tall too, and
6'9". Yeah.
And I feel like if they were to get like high-waisted trousers, like that's a lot of fabric right there. I'm a tall fella. That's way too much.
Yeah.
I'm not a tall fella, but I have no interest in whatsoever.
No, that's fine. I hope you have interest in Doctor Who magazine issue 602 with a big giant interview with Millicent Gibson, who plays Ruby Sunday, of course, in the television series Doctor Who. This dropped on late Wednesday, and I have not had any time to read any of it. But there's archive interview with William Hartnell in the Scottish press.
I was wondering. I was like, is it from Beyond the Grave? Are they like sitting there with the microphone at the graveyard?
It's him. It's a print interview from the 1960s, and I really want to read that because I am so intrigued because we have so few interviews with William Hartnell.
Please leave me alone. It says.
Yeah.
All I have seen, and this is courtesy being just emailed it from Andrew Smith. Is the 2-page spread on Gallifrey 1 that Simon Garrier did.
He did, yeah. I saw that was in there. Haven't read it yet because
no, I haven't read either.
Although Russell T Davies in his little production notes there did mention that like you haven't seen any usually Scott Hancock would be the one to sort of give you a production update. In each issue, and he hasn't done that in a while because he's moved onwards and upwards at Doctor Who. He doesn't do what he does, and so he doesn't provide that thing anymore. But he also mentioned that on March 8th, 2024, International Women's Day, for what it's worth, they shot a landmark Doctor Who scene that it will make waves when you see it.
Oh wow! Is the Doctor going to regenerate into a woman?
That will never happen. That's crazy.
That would never happen, Chris.
You're right.
Has never happened, will never happen. Who knows what it's going to be, but I imagine that we'll find out when it happens. When we see it. Yeah.
Are we near any sort of like milestone, like 1,000th episode or?
No.
I was going to say first gay kiss, but that must have happened already.
No.
Eccleston and John Barrowman.
Exactly.
At least.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to be. You mentioned milestones also in that same 1-page article where all the news comes out and where Radio Times makes about 8 articles out of it. RTD says that he's been asked like, oh, you know what, like 2025 is going to be 20 years for modern Who, and he says they're going to. He says no, for good reason because it's like we went from 100th BBC to 60th Doctor Who to 20th.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Why are you don't count down when you're celebrating anniversaries?
And not to mention, I mean, assuming things are still, as we'll get into later, assuming things are still around and whatnot, the 25th anniversary is not that far away and isn't going to conflict with those other anniversaries you spoke of in like. Because the 105th BBC anniversary, that's not really a thing.
105 years of the BBC.
Here's what you do.
Let's hope it makes it to 105.
Here's what you do. You show a TARDIS cam
of
the 5 Doctors.
Right.
On that dated kind of website as well. That's how you celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 2005.
That's true. Yeah. Speaking of 5 Doctors, a little aside here. I know that some listeners have emailed us over the past few weeks about the season 20 box set here in North America, saying that it got bumped to June. It says, well, listen, it still says right here in the BBC shop, April 2nd, it's coming out. Yeah, it's April BBC shop. Change it to June 4th.
I laugh, but I cry.
June 4th. For the season 20 box set in this nation and continent. That's like a year since it was released in the UK. Like, I don't know when the UK release was, but it's a long time.
A year ago, we had just gotten season 9 because I was in the UK a year ago and got season 9.
Okay. So, like, probably the fall, though, right? Season 20 came out in the fall in the UK, I think.
June?
Well, that's a year then.
Yeah, I guess a year from
more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
June or I don't remember when it came out. I'd look it up, but I don't care.
Yeah. So I'm annoyed. Anyway, I'm annoyed. Also in Doctor Who magazine, they announced 2 or 3 different casting announcements of people who are going to be in Doctor Who. A couple people I've never heard about. No offense, but Dame Sian Phillips is in there. She, of course, was in Dune 1984, the movie.
No, see, I was like, ooh, I'm sure she's lovely and wonderful and very important, but I have no idea who she is.
Appears throughout I, Claudius, of course.
Oh, okay.
That dude on the right in the yellow turtleneck looks like Drake a little bit.
Oh, Winston Chidozi is his
also
name.
that's a fine looking turtle. That's some Carl Sagan action, is what that is.
Yeah, it has a bit of a Carl Sagan accent actually too.
Or Dick Cavett, if you whichever you prefer.
Yeah, Callie Cook there is the other actor. As I say, I have only heard of people who are in Doctor Who or Doctor Who related things, but I did recognize her. That shot that they've used in the article is actually from the trailer.
I'm going to make up my own story and say that's a set report, and she just caught somebody who uses that hashtag taking a picture of her, and that's the look she gave him. Like, that were these freaks,
and they just used it in the episode. But anyway, all that
her worried look in that photo makes me think of Catherine Tate for some reason.
Does a little bit, actually, yeah.
Good call,
yeah.
Good call.
Maybe a younger Catherine Tate. Anyway, they also announced the names of the actors.
Could you just? I'm sticking with that one for a second.
Okay, sure.
So we know Rose is coming back,
right?
Donna's daughter, Rose.
Yes,
right.
yes, Rose. Yes.
Yeah.
What if we have a young Rose and a young Donna?
Okay.
Palling around.
How many times has any of this crap happened?
None. Never.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah, listen.
And also, this reminds me of young Guinan for no reason on Picard. So I don't like that.
God. Yeah, listen. Yeah, Doctor Who isn't like Star Trek. They're not like throwing like 3 different Kirks out there at the same time. A crisis of infinite Kirks, as I call it.
They're not bad.
I'll take young Guinan on Picard over young Guinan from TNG.
I don't remember young Guinan on TNG.
In the Rugrats episode or whatever.
When they reverted back to kids through the transporter accident.
Remember that one?
I've forgotten all about that.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard becomes a kid.
It's probably
and stuff.
not good at all.
And Keiko O'Brien is in a very awkward marriage with
that's the last gasp of that kind of television. Even at the time, that was a little old.
It feels like that's your typical.
That's some TOS action. Is what that is.
It was highly unpleasant, is what it was.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mind it. I liked it. I like Star Trek Next Generation, but
okay, you qualify that, and rightly so.
Yeah, I know. They also announced. I don't know any of the names of the actors, but they announced the names of the actors playing the Beatles in the Devil's Chord episode 2. 3 of them are from Liverpool. None of them are, of course, are playing.
Their names together are an anagram for the master.
Yeah, that could be. But of course, whoever is playing the drums in that, or indeed the acoustic guitar without any amplification on it whatsoever. That's gonna be such a problem. This is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the one that finally breaks me over.
This is me being sympathetic. Whenever I see something obviously shot on film with a camcorder framing around it, it drives me crazy. This is basically what you're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make sense, Warren. Doesn't make sense.
That's on film. What the hell? Come on.
If you're gonna stick to details, you're gonna make the 1960s. What are you doing? You know, I mean, even this is Spinal Tap, one of the greatest films of all time. Some of the vintage footage that happens in there. There's a couple drum sets going. That is not a proper drum.
Well, that's not funny. That makes it way less funny now. The drum set's wrong.
And a friend of mine who plays guitar.
That makes it way less sexy.
Yeah, a friend of mine who plays guitar watched a bit of the Buddy Holly story from 1978 starring Gary Busey, and the headstock of the guitar is all wrong because the Fender headstocks back then were a lot smaller, but the 1970s ones were a lot bigger. And so I
was going to say, directed by John Carpenter, but that's Elvis, with Kurt Russell as Elvis.
Can I also point out, off the top of my head, that the baseball cap, the New York Yankees baseball cap that Stubby K wears in Delta and the Bannerman has a mesh back on it like the ones that you would buy in shops in 1987, and not at all the ones that you would wear in 1959.
It would have been all cloth in 59?
It would have been all cloth in 59. Yeah,
disgusting.
You would not have had that.
It's almost as if Doctor Who is cheap and doesn't care about continuity.
It does not. Doctor Who sucks. Why are we watching this stupid show?
That's it. I'm watching Starfleet Academy when it comes out.
Yes, please do. Watch the Sequest DSV for a real proper look at history. Damn it.
Yay.
Yeah. Hey, did you know what the Hugo announcement? That's one thing we were around for, though. The Hugos finalists were announced today, March the 29th. Doctor Who is back in the Hugos conversation. The Giggle and Wild Boo Yonder, both finalists for Hugos for Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form. I feel like this has been a while since the Doctor Who episode's been in the list of finalists, and two of them show up.
I didn't look it up, but I want to say probably pre-Chibnall.
I think you're right.
I think you
Did
might
you think this
be
is a
right.
pump jab? Or maybe that's just bush casting on my part. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know the finalists. I don't remember. I know that they won for 4 or 5 years in a row up until Day of the Doctor, and then that was it. The Hugo said, "That's enough. We're done with Doctor Who."
Not even
for a
Heaven
while."
Sent. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know that Heaven Sent came along at the exact wrong time because everyone.
Well,
and the Hugos
Heaven Sent is perfect. Who cares
It
if
is
the Hugos
perfect.
liked it or not?
Yeah, for the Hugos, it's like whatever. We're done with Doctor Who. You celebrated your 50th.
Okay.
I'm going to speak out of total ignorance here.
right.
I noticed there's a lot of Chinese titles. Are those making up for the debacle of the last one, or are those new titles that they've nominated for whatever reason?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's my expert insider knowledge on that. I speak as a Hugo finalist again with Uncanny Magazine and Best Semi-Prosing, by the way.
I did look it up, and I am completely wrong. 2019, Rosa and Demons of the Punjab were both.
I was right.
Oh, they were okay.
That was a
both
guess. That was a
nominated.
complete guess on my part.
2020, Resolution was nominated. Of course,
that
that
was
was
in
the
there.
only episode that went out.
That's true. Okay, I guess I was
2021, Fugitive of the Jadoon was nominated, and
I have
all
memory
three
hold those.
all three of those years, the winner was The Good Place.
Well, that ain't
Pretty-
gonna happen this time.
Pretty good show, so I can't say I'm too mad about that.
Yeah. Other things that are up against Doctor Who in that category are what I hope. I mean, I like Doctor Who and all that, but the long time is episode 3 of The Last of Us, which is really, really good. And then there's the two. I was telling the chaps this before we recorded. The 2 episodes of Star Trek which make me hate everything about modern Star Trek is the fan proxy episode of Too Many Scientists or these old scientists, where the lower decks people come back and just fawn over the original crew for 50 minutes.
I didn't mind it. It's dumb, but I still didn't mind it.
It was dumb but fun. Yes,
and the friggin' musical episodes on there.
No, thank
that's
you.
a finalist.
I was
going to
say I'll never see all Star Trek, but I haven't watched half of Voyager or barely any of Enterprise. So really, who am I kidding here?
Exactly. So.
There are only 3. There are 3 lights, and they are TOS. No, 4. There are 4 lights.
Thank you.
TOS,
There are 4 lights.
TAS, TNG, and DS9.
There we
I'm
are.
old. Thank you and good day.
Perfect. Yeah. A little glimmer for Star Trek Picard season 3 off.
Okay,
there.
yeah. Especially the last 2 episodes or so.
Yeah, exactly. Hats off to Paul Cornell as well for best graphic novel, I think is what his category was, which is great for Paul.
Best graphic story or comic. Yes.
There it
Which
is.
one? Which comic is it? Because he makes a bunch.
The Witches of World War II.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So good for him. Good job, Paul. The Hugos, of course, in Glasgow, Scotland, August 8th to 12th, which of the 3 of us now, and I won't be there anymore, but Warren, you'll be there
I will be there.
to collect Doctor Who's Hugo in person should
Sure,
they
why
win. You
not?
may be contacted to become their official spokesperson.
I mean, I can contact your inevitable Hugo if you want. For
well,
Uncanny.
I don't know about that. We'll see, but it is an honor to be nominated at the very least. So there you go, Hugos. Hey, let's talk about the BBC for a little bit. How about something that we 3 Canadians have proven that we are experts on. So here we go, kids. The BBC has confirmed that the full series, season 1 of Doctor Who, will be airing in 4K on iPlayer. This has not been the case in the past. It's been
not for regular season stuff apparently.
Right.
Just like some specials.
just some.
I mean, that could be a
specials.
bandwidth issue. That could be that they have to upgrade everything. It can't just do it just for Doctor Who. So that might be part of why the system wasn't ready for it yet. I'm sure it was shot in 4K. I guarantee all of at least Jodie's era was in 4K.
I think it was shot in 4K, obviously, and now it's probably shot in 8K or something like that. Maybe
I
don't know.
don't know for a fact. It
Disney
could
or
be.
something like that. Yeah. And Chris, you were mentioning something. We looked through this article on Cord Busters. Didn't say it in here, but the audio is, I assume it's also 5.1 now, or 7.1, or complete audio, or Dolby Atmos, or something like that.
Well, Disney Plus is Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, it is.
And presumably the same will be, because I mean, if they're mixing it in that format, then there's no reason not to use it. And if your receiver or your TV or whatever steps down to 5.1 or 2.1 or whatever, okay, so be it. But
yeah, I have Sony soundbar. That's what mine is.
Yeah,
so it's probably 2.1. I don't care. Whatever.
Is it a 2.0 soundbar? Well, this is the thing. I know that some
my soundbar is like a 2.0, but like emulates 5.1.
I couldn't care less if it emulates 5.0.
No, Warren's on an audiophile. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people who watch TV aren't when it comes to like surround system. We have a surround. I insisted on getting a surround system because I've had one for a while and I love it.
Well, you live in a building that's made of concrete, and your neighbors aren't going to hear a darn thing. When
mine too, but I just don't bother.
I don't have that luxury, so
no,
I have to make do with something lesser. Even though I'd love to do a 7.1 or whatever.
I honestly don't watch enough TV or movies to make it worth. Maybe with video games, it might be worth my while.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. It's cool. But I mean, that's very privileged of us to say. Oh, I have fun. But a lot of people don't. But I think a lot of people are saying I can't understand what the dialogue is because it's basically a 5.7 mix, or Atmos audio mix, channeled into like 2, and so naturally you're fighting. The dialogue is meshed in with everything else,
That's why
that's been the argument forever. Whether it's the mix or Murray Gold's music is too domineering or whatever. But if you have that separation of channels, then you can tweak your setup to get that enhanced center channel audio, so you can hear the dialogue that much better. Because like back in the day for Series 6, was it?
Okay.
We used to put a clip of the episode at the start of our show.
Yeah, we did that for a while. Yeah.
Back then it was 5.1 audio, and we could pull that center speech channel and ignore all the music and whatever else, and just have a very crisp, clean, clear copy of whatever, and it was fantastic.
I did that when I edited my Marvel video. I pulled stuff out so I could put it over top of Marvel music. But I was just thinking about this. I wonder if the reason that captions are so popular with the young folk is because they probably can't afford a 2 point or whatever, 5 point whatever. And so people just get used to using. I mean, I put captions on all the time, probably for the same reason.
Ditto.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of how back in the old days you would shoot and whatever else for it. Like you'd shoot 35, but you'd have the frame adjusted. So you'd basically dumb it down to the lowest possible because that's how somebody was watching it. Now it's the opposite. They just assume the rich folk are watching this and the hell of everybody else.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Even though that's like so not the the audience that's watching it. It
probably depends on the show too, but.
It does, but I'm glad the BBC is on there because let me tell you, it was great. It's been great watching new Doctor Who right when it drops and in like 5.1 or Dolby Atmos or something and in full HD on my TV, and that's cool.
The link in the show notes in the comments, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, Stephen.
All right.
Somebody mentioned that, and I have no idea how accurate their statement is. They say there's no 5.1 audio available on BBC iPlayer, so the better picture is at the cost of audio quality. UK viewers have to choose either 5.1 audio with HD picture or 2-channel audio with 4K. US viewers get Doctor Who as 4K HDR 5.1.
That sounds like a math problem that'll get solved at some point. Like this reminds me of when I was at the Banff TV Festival and some Shaw executive said, well, we don't need to worry about YouTube. We have HD. And YouTube wasn't HD at the time. And then 6 months later, I remember turning to the person next to me going, that's a math problem and a case of beer away. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Thanks, executive. Clearly, you're worth the $300,000 you make a year, or whatever it is.
He's no longer there, and Shaw's been bought out by Rogers. So
he's been golden parachuted out at a much higher price.
He's on such.
This
a nice
is a good
yacht
segue
right
into our Mrrahh Business segment.
Mrrahh Business about the more stuff about the BBC. So where shall we start? Let's talk about AI. Yay! Everybody loves AI. The BBC. A whole bunch of people complained. Remember they that sort of document says, "Hey, we're going to use AI for marketing and stuff like that," and a whole bunch of people deluged the BBC with complaints.
Good.
And the BBC will now apparently stop doing AI for Doctor Who promotion.
You know what? They'll just wait, and then they'll do it anyway. That's what'll happen.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's a companion article also in the show notes.
Yeah.
That maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit talking about.
Go for it.
The Tim Davie, the head of the director general of the BBC.
Yeah,
has said, we're still going full steam ahead with AI.
Big plans for AI.
What's going on there is, sorry,
I don't know how, why, or so. Doctor Who was meant to be this like focused like test bed of AI marketing development, and people complained, as was said. Link in the show notes. What did he say here? We will proactively deploy AI on our terms, always holding on to our published principles, never compromising human creative control, supporting rights holders, and sustaining our editorial standards, but proactively launching tools that help us build relevance.
So here's what's happening here. You've got two different audiences being spoken to. The first audience is the viewers, the AI where they rebelled against it. The second audience is the director general talking to other people in the industry, probably at the same level he's at or around there.
Yeah,
because clearly
is the Royal
there are two different
Television
things being said here.
Yeah, this is the Royal Television Society Awards or the thing that happened.
That's why you should always watch business TV, because you can see what people actually think.
That's true.
Because they're talking to other people at that level.
It just says, in a major speech in London held by the Royal Television Society.
Yeah. Where I think there are some awards, and that's where Russell T Davies and Jodie Whittaker and Mark Gatiss were there, and they had a selfie on it was on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah. Different eras crossing like that. So.
Yes. And the new series of Taskmaster started this past Thursday, and one of the participants is Steve Pemberton, who was in the League of Gentlemen with Mark Gatiss.
And Steve Pemberton
played Proper Dave in Rush and Rada Stories.
Not like Ray effing Purchase.
Yeah, other Dave. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and indeed, Mrs. Elon Musk is in that episode too.
Yeah. What a weird conflagration of things.
Or was he other Dave? Whichever Dave he played.
Yeah, it was one of the Daves. The Daves are covered off by people we know. Yeah, exactly.
These are the Daves we know.
Yeah, that's right. Little hat tip there. The kids in the hall. Russell T Davies, by the way, has kind of has said this a lot over the past few years about how the BBC is quote unquote on the end of it is undoubtedly on its way. He said this on a podcast, which is an interesting podcast. The last half of it, I forget the name of the podcast, but a lot of articles.
They like to watch.
They like to watch.
Which is a great name for a TV podcast.
It is. They like to watch. It is also just a minute-by-minute recap of being there from 1979, starring Peter Sellers.
Is it
Thank you, Warren, for getting my joke.
Directly at me. Al Ashby joined.
Yeah,
not like the Frankenstein Minute podcast, though.
Not at all like that, or the Star Wars Minute. No. Interesting hearing you talk about, like, basically, like, they're kind of future-proofing the range in a way, and like having Doctor Who, like, getting outside funding just in case the BBC isn't what the BBC is or has been in the next few years.
Tory-proofing, I think is the word you're looking for.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought when I heard that was, this hand that feeds me is delicious.
Well, there's more on the topic as well, but I mean with the potential, you speak of Tory proofing, because the Tories want to ditch the license fee, and that is
defund the BBC.
Such a massive source of the BBC's budget that if that does happen, then they got to find the money someplace else.
I mean, that's what Canadian TV has been for decades. We co-productions. That's the only way to get anything made.
Oh,
now
yeah.
In this country.
The CBC also
has all this to play with.
Irks me.
Yeah,
they have a lot less to play with because they're a much smaller player than the BBC, but they've been commercially funded, funded through commercials. Let me phrase it that way: radio and
not
TV.
radio. No, not radio.
Not radio?
On podcasts, yes, but radio, no.
Okay. Forever. And so that's a revenue stream that the BBC hasn't had. And hopefully
there would be
will have.
a giant revolt. CBC radio listeners, myself included, are very loyal and have been listening since they were little kids. And if they ever put commercials in the CBC, I mean, there might be one or two here and there. They might be trying stuff out, but you'll hear it on the podcast because it's new. But you'll never hear it on radio until everybody my age dies off. And by that time, it'll be on your neural link or something. And Elon Musk, who will be 20 for some reason, will be talking to you on it as well.
Right. CBC brought to you by PepsiCo or something like that. Yeah. In that same interview, though, Russell T Davies talked about the Doctor Who experience and how much of a money loss it was. It was so expensive to maintain that place that I guess it's not a surprise that sadly they shut down. So
I'm so glad we saw it.
I lament not seeing it. The flip side to that, I assume anyway, this is just postulation. Part of it has to be because it was in Cardiff, and people, diehard Doctor Who fans would go to Cardiff so they can see the filming locations and whatever. But the general population probably would have preferred to have it in London, Manchester. Some are bigger. However, it doesn't mean it would have made money in some of those locations because the cost to house it would have
cheaper
been so
to house
higher.
it in Cardiff, presumably. Oh,
way more, cheaper than London or Manchester. Or
that's what I mean.
Birmingham or something.
Leeds, Sheffield.
Look how you're contemptuous of places you've never been and know nothing about.
Derby, Newcastle.
You're just naming things now.
Liverpool, Norfolk, North Norfolk.
Norfolk, yes.
Bath.
Sussex.
There we go. Bath.
Cornwall.
Is she stalling for some reason?
Rutland. I am just stalling.
All I can say is allegory, Montessori.
Sorry. Corey.
Dog, cat, camera, balloon.
Yeah.
I'm president.
Anyway, Tim Davies said a lot this past week. Tim Davies, Director General of the BBC. He also said BBC is looking for commercial deals faces as if because of that license fee. So
exactly.
Doctor Who though has been cited as a good way of doing it. The way they partnered with Disney Plus to get this this new series of Doctor Who done. So
that's because Doctor Who is, dare I say, pioneering in this. At least as far as BBC content is concerned.
Yeah. I mean, there's also nothing quite like it, a Doctor, like this long-running show that is always there and needs to compete with, the Marvel Universe shows.
And hasn't been bought by Disney.
Yeah.
Or whoever else.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's a lot of competitors.
Rented, perhaps, but not bought.
Yep. Also, the BBC said that they should spend more on TV in Wales as well. There's a report that came out that says spend more on TV in Wales.
I was hoping it was Wales Tourism Bureau or something that did this report, something completely biased to buy pro-Wales content.
Just like, the people who live in Wales think you should spend more. No, the BBC actually issued a report on that. So there. Is that it? Is that it for our BBC segment? Our BBC Mrrahh Business segment. Chris, you got something else to add?
The only other thing was one thing in here talking about how I don't know if I want to find it in time here to make it worthwhile. But how Doctor Who is one of the few things that's for scripted television that's still a going concern. So many other channels are outside of the BBC are dropping or reducing scripted content.
Oh yeah, they are. I know it's kind of got
UK scripted commissioning activity fell by 48% at British pay TV players, 36% at commercial free-to-air broadcasters, and 21% at subscription streaming services, according to data.
I mean,
however, the BBC's scripted commissions remained stable, with the public service broadcaster focusing on kids, family, and crime genres, and ramping up literary adaptations and multiple episode series orders.
If you're, and this might be a bad example, but Netflix, let's say, and you're not spending money on your own stuff, then why would you spend money on somebody else's stuff too? and then claim it's yours. Like, which drove me batty whenever I saw a BBC thing and it said Netflix. I'm like, no, it's not. Come on.
I know.
A Netflix original.
Yeah,
I know that we kind of Warren and I sort of dump on the industry a lot in private chats and stuff. Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But like, imagine like being in that industry, and we know some people in the industry, and having 48% of your work gone. Like, imagine that. Imagine basically half of your
like the
your
strikes
job opportunities.
More of the same, really. Like, a lot of people weren't working to begin with, and then the strikes happened, so they really weren't working to begin with.
And I kind of like, I think there's been too much TV. Let's face it. I think it was the gravy train that probably couldn't, and obviously hasn't.
It was a bubble.
It was a bubble.
Said it. Go back. I said it at the time. So did you. Like, and I'm sure Chris did too. Like, it smelled like every bubble we've ever seen. It just had TV shows in it. Instead
be it tech, be it real estate, be it sports, be it
tulips. If we want to go back,
and now like this
current reference Warren.
And a little bit low. It's way back there.
This trend towards like reality, it just reminds me of the strike of 2008, 2009, when or even earlier. No, it was earlier.
The writer's strike was 2007 or 8.
It was like there's strikes that basically ushered in all the reality shows that we get, the primetime reality shows like Survivor and Big Brother.
Although there were a bunch that pre-established that. Watch, the next bubble will be when the AI is just good enough to create slop. And then we'll have a pile of slop overtaking everything. And then everybody will be like, no, thank you. But we're going to have to get through that first. And we're not quite there yet. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of slop out there.
Already.
Erica watched, I mentioned this because I don't usually watch new stuff. I have watched, before I forget though, something that is good, Constellation, and that's not just a personal bias because we're friends with Peter Hart. I said he was on the show, but I have yet to watch the last episode. But that is a good show. It's all
it's sitting there and up next. I have not watched it.
It's a good show.
I'm sure it is.
I look forward to getting
it's very mind bendy, and I'm looking forward to finding time to watch that last episode. But Erica was watching the movie Damsel on Netflix this past week, and I was sort of in the room playing video games, and because we have two TVs in our home because we're privileged, and
dorks.
Yeah, and and it was kind of bad. It was like an hour and 45. Didn't look too bad. It was shot in Portugal. Like the visual effects actually, some of it were mostly good, apart from the scenes where they're standing somewhere, because that's just fake. It just looks like it's the new CSO Fringe.
I hate to break it to you, but movies are fake.
I know,
like,
but it looks fake. But the story had no. It was such a simple story that it was just torture porn to put poor Millie Bobby Brown through a lot of getting eaten by dragons and stuff, essentially like that. It was kind of bad. And it was also like there was no subtext. And I realized that there's no subtext in these movies because they're making them under the understanding that the kids who are, or the people who are watching them are going to be on their phones during that.
Yep, it's second screen phenomenon. That's exactly what it is.
They don't. Make me something that I can look at my phone while watching, and then I don't have to worry about paying attention.
Then why bother watching in the first place?
Right. I followed that up. I exfoliated after that and watched the first two Godfather movies in consecutive nights, and that is those are movies layered in subtext and having to pay attention. I was building my Lego set while doing it. I had to rewind a couple times. Like I missed the subtext. I missed it.
This is my problem with Foundation. You have to pay attention during that show, and so that's why I kind of fell off the train. But I went back on the train because I was like, oh, no, I actually do really like this. It is pretty good, and also surprisingly cheaper than that. Like, it looks expensive as hell, but apparently they only spent $40 million for each season, which isn't a lot of money for something that looks that good.
For how many episodes they made too?
10, I think. Yeah,
10 episodes.
Each episode,
10 per season.
Yeah. Anyway, Constellations, that's good. Damsel, not quite as much. It got your typical Netflix rating of like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's usually about the highest rating for a Netflix movie on there. But
Lukewarm Milk, the Netflix series.
Yeah. Let's hope that Doctor Who does not become lukewarm milk and something that is just meant to be watched while people are looking at their phones. Let's hope that's
whatever my criticisms of RTD are, that's not one of them. He will not let that happen.
I hope not. Although in that interview on the podcast, which was kind of cool because he mentioned this, and I thought, if Disney collapsed tomorrow and we had to go back to making Doctor Who on a normal BBC budget, you know what? We'd all rally around and make it, and suddenly the stories would become claustrophobic ghost stories.
Yeah, hell yeah. I kind of want that to
actually, you
happen.
know what? I kind of want this now. Can we
Yeah,
do
me
that?
too.
I want this Doctor Who. I want 4 people in a room and have that be a Doctor
You
Who
know where this is
episode.
going? Multicam SD, baby. Come on.
It's so cheap. You can make it multicam. You can do
I'm going to
it.
invent Skynet just to destroy the world so we can go back to multicam.
Everything could be like the sitting room in Horror of Fang Rock.
Yeah, now you're talking, Chris.
Oh, every episode is set in the lighthouse.
We have hit ridiculous Gen X nonsense here. We had Godfather and now this. Like, we're just cliches upon cliches.
You know what? The main thing I took away from watching Barbie a few months ago, I was thinking, you know what? I do want to watch The Godfather again, and so I finally did.
I did laugh uproariously at the line. I'm like, yeah, that's me. You got me, Barbie.
You got me. They nailed me. And I thought, you know what? I like those movies. So
I like them too, but they're not wrong about the joke, about over-explaining it. That's absolutely true.
yeah.
That one to the mattresses.
Yeah. Before we have a commentary today, Terry the Autons Part 1, which we recorded about a year and a half ago. It feels like at this time.
Not that long ago, but yes.
It's a long time ago. It's been a while. This one, you can watch along with us. This is our first video commentary that we did. You can watch the telesnaps along with us if you're on
January
YouTube.
8th, apparently.
Is that that long ago? Oh, that's nothing.
So almost 3 months.
Okay, that's fine.
Been in the can.
There's another thing. Speaking of things that I wanted to get to, episode 8 of Constellation, all of Doctor Who magazine 602. There's a Steven Moffat appeared at Glasgow University recently to have an hour-and-a-half conversation about his TV writing career and everything like that. So,
which is why I haven't watched it yet, because I saw an hour and a half, and
I
have an allergy to anything over 10 minutes on YouTube. So
yeah, it's that is something you could probably have.
Is that
in the background? But
is that a holdover, Warren, from when YouTube capped things at 10 minutes?
I thought about that, but no, it's just that I don't want to hear people yelling for more than and it used to be, maybe this has changed because the algorithm changes and people change what they do, but for a while there, people were making 5-6 hour things just because the algorithm favored that. And I'm like, this is stupid. There's no way in hell I'm watching that. So I just don't have that much time in a day either. Like,
there's a video that's been always kicked around called The Fall of Doctor Who. That was made during the Chibnall era, and it's like 5 hours and 14 minutes long, and it's made by a kid or something like that. And it crystallized so much more. I had never watched it. I don't want to see that. But it's like kids will either watch a minute on a TikTok video or a 5-hour YouTube essay and nothing in between.
And some people, younger folk that I happen to know, love YouTube essays, and more power to them, but it just ain't for me.
No. Not so much either.
JXC.
There you go.
As long as it's not
All
that
of
weird
Dr.
beardy
Who.
guy, beardy cartoon who hated
I know who
women.
you mean. We don't need to know, buddy.
They have a verified tick.
Wow.
Wow, you know what you can get? You can get one of those on Twitter for about $10, and then you can become a right-wing maniac.
But
$8
doesn't sell those.
No. Well, they've earned them then.
There's a whole bunch of Korean subtitles.
Okay.
Well, see, if something's verified on YouTube, that means nothing. That just means that people who like Mr. Beast like this. So I'm out again.
It's true. Catch us on YouTube, by the way. Smash that like button, subscribe.
Don't do any of those things. Don't subscribe. Don't comment.
Okay.
Unless it's about Magna Carta.
Yeah, that's that too.
By the way, stay tuned for 2 of us are going to London. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
you may see some hijinks in that regard.
That's true. Not in the commentary though.
There are strange things afoot at the Circle K.
Yes, there certainly are.
Some merch stuff to talk about very briefly before we go. The Memoirs of an Impossible Blue Box hardcover is due July 11th. So too is the audio CD, the audio version. We talked about this last week. It was announced. It's coming July the 11th. Which will the TARDIS be recounting its memories from season 1 of Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who, which will be done and dusted by that time? Who knows?
The design is cool. I like the embossings on it, even if it's not actually embossed. It looks cool.
On the cover, I know. Yeah, I could see that the logo being like a gold foil kind of logo, like on the cover of
5 Doctors.
5 Doctors, exactly. Yeah, that's totally it.
I just like how the book just says Memoirs of an Impossible Blue Box, as told to Steve Cole.
I know. Yeah, we talked about that last week about how
for
it's
a
like
little bit of verisimilitude.
Yeah. Catchy. I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Also, from the old Big Finish, the War Doctor Rises, the next War Doctor series is coming out at a certain time, August of 2024, starring Jonathan Carley doing his wonderful
art pending, clearly, given this cover.
A little bit, yeah, possibly. But that's coming in April 20. August 2024. One artwork that is not pending is the other Torchwood news we have bring to you.
I don't care what this is about. This art is awesome.
Torchwood Disco by Gareth David Lloyd, starring Gareth David Lloyd in a disco, wearing a Torchwood medallion and his leisure suits with a mirror ball.
I know those are like whatever those cases are called for musical instruments and stuff, but they look like a bunch of crazy supercomputers behind them.
Road cases, yeah.
And with the exploding glitter ball, I'm assuming that there's murder on the dance floor.
Chris, not if a DJ saves his life, but I mean, Chris, you of all people, your Eurovision love should be all over this cover.
That's true. Comes out in May. Tie in with
one thing has no bearing on the other.
I think this is. I get Eurovision vibes out this.
A little bit.
I just get like Bee Gees vibes.
I love the
what's the difference? Don't explain that. Don't even think about explaining that.
Well, in 1956.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm here to sass off and not listen.
Yeah.
As you may have guessed.
Anyway, that's it. That's it for our news, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the trailer breakdown that we have yet to know about as we record this exact thing right now. Coming next after the break, our classic series commentary for Terror of the Autons, Episode 1.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back. It's the commentary portion of the podcast. Today, we are doing the John Pertwee classic. Is it a classic? We'll find out.
That's good.
It's Introduction to the Master.
Introduction to the Master, introduction to Season 8, introduction of a lot of things.
Joe Grant.
Terror of the Autons.
Joe Grant? Mm-hmm.
Joe Grant. Serial code EEE, if you're...
Jojo Grant was first in the Time Monster.
That's right, Jojo Grant, yeah. Jojo Rabbit was an Oscar-winning movie from Taika Waititi. All right, I hope you have all got your legally purchased Blu-rays and DVDs. We legally purchased a DVD and made the copy that we're about to watch along with right now. If you're on YouTube, you might be watching us. If you're on YouTube, you might have watched us and have us been pulled down for copyright reasons. If you're on YouTube, you might be watching a version that's blurred out for copyright reasons. We don't know either, folks. That's what makes it so exciting.
I don't know if exciting is the right word.
No,
intriguing. How about that?
Intriguing. If it does get pulled down, we'll do it again. Except we'll watch it in the proper black and white version.
Yes, and film
because
we'll shoot it on film ourselves and then transfer.
No vid fired. Nope. Black and white, just like we watched
16
it.
16 mil print sold to Australia.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah,
we'll send it. We'll literally send it through the mail to get that good beat up feeling when it comes back.
Yep. All right, everyone got it all queued up. Okay, here we go. Terror of the Autons in 3, 2, 1, play. There it is. Watching it together. I wanted to do this in person when Warren was in town, but he blew us off in favor of family time.
And a flight.
And a flight the next day. Otherwise, we would have done this in person.
What a maroon.
Yeah, boy, am I an uncool guy.
Now there it is, Terror of the Autons.
You know, there's one thing that at age 53 I can get bent over by. It's peer pressure. That's for sure.
We keep trying, Warren. We keep trying, and sometimes you cave in. Yeah. All right, here we go. Season 8. It's not my favorite season of Doctor Who. I got to be honest with you.
I know. I'm pretty excited. This is an international circus. What does that mean? There's some bad foreign stereotypes.
Yes, actually there are. Episode 2. Just wait for it. Animals and circuses. We don't do that anymore. There should be a trigger warning on this. We don't hold poor lions in cages anymore.
Yeah, these lions are like, "Where's my union rep? What is this?"
Yeah.
I love this clown just walking by with the giant shoes.
Yeah.
Doop de doop de doop, going honk 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 honk.
They should have toughed it.
Speaking of things no longer done on TV, smoking.
Smoking, I know.
Or caravans.
Horse boxes materializing mysteriously. Is that not done?
Try to smoke near the gas area. That's a good idea.
Yeah. What do they know about the 1970s? They don't know anything. They probably still thought that like smoking was good for your digestion and stuff too. I mean,
you don't see heck all that often on, for some reason.
No,
Not in British stuff, anyway.
No, it's a shame. I kind of want. We should bring back Heck. Who the heck are you?
No, they
say hell
shouldn't,
too
because
much.
a lot of people who like, let's say, Jonathan Colton and other such early 2000s nerdery are like, that's heckin' cool.
Oh, is that what they did?
A lot of Whedon adjacent people, let's say. You'd see a lot of that on the internet.
Jonathan Colton did those. He did songs or something, right? Didn't he do songs?
He did
like
songs for, and I have nothing against him. Again, it's the
Woodstock
fans.
and stuff. Yeah.
No, he did stuff for, well, maybe, but he did stuff for Portal, both Portal games.
Yeah.
They're good
Did he know?
songs.
I didn't know that.
But, and I got to give him credit, back in the old days of the internet, like the early 2000s, I love this CSO. Look at this.
That is so jarring.
We're gonna get a lot of it. We're gonna get,
I
get
know
used to it.
we get
Yep.
yeah, especially in the episode 2 cliffhanger with the cop car.
Yep, cop car.
Oh.
Yep.
Anyway, what Jonathan Colton did was look
Right.
where his songs got most downloaded, and that's how he decided what his tour was. And I think he did that before a lot of people, which was very smart on his part.
Wow.
Yeah, so he always had sold out shows because that's where people were downloading his music from.
Until like he went to like Minsk, Belarus, and there was some Russian bot that was downloading his songs
Maybe, yeah. Oopsie.
1,000 times a minute. Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, I'm
Must
just
be
complaining about internet culture more than anything else, really.
Well, we're par for the course. We're only 3 minutes into this. I was expecting it a little later, Warren, but
No, too late. I love these Tinker toys, by the way.
Yeah. I want to think that this probably showed up as another prop later on, but because it looks kind of, it reminded me of either some a spider creature designed by a Blue Peter contest winner or something, or
At first, I thought those were Dalek eye stalks.
Dalek eye stalk. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Actually, yeah. It's Katie Manning, everybody. Katie Manning, introduced to Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of her least 70s outfits.
Well, it is only 1971.
And one of her most 70s hairstyles.
That's pretty 70s, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, it's almost David Bowie. It's almost like Ziggy Stardust.
It's like the Vidal Sassoon haircut.
No, that would be literally Carol Ann Ford.
Oh, okay.
Vidal Sassoon designed her hairstyle in Doctor Who.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's not a word of a lie. Yeah, that is an actual thing.
I just know it was popularized in Rosemary's Baby.
1968.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Mia Farrow.
Yep, she's the one with the Vidal Sassoon haircut. He gets name checked in the movie.
And she went to join the Beatles in India immediately after that. I learned that on a podcast like yesterday.
I misread that as cryptocurrency, safe breaking and explosives, which is a much better mix.
Joe has a unit degree in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, you see stupid pictures of apes everywhere, and she's trying to sell people on them.
She's trying to
But it's
sell
not a pyramid scheme.
She's trying to sell Dogecoin.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
Poo.
This looks like the kind of thing I would put together to try to sort of descramble First Choice in the 1980s. And I'm only half joking about that.
Look at this.
I did come up with a couple designs for those things.
Look at the camera do its best on the fly to try to squeeze Joe in between that.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there he goes.
Still a little more. There we go.
The upshot to all that is manual focus. So at least it's not like, changing
That's
focal
true.
lengths.
You see that spiral staircase in the back? That's everywhere in British TV in the 70s and 80s. And one day, the next Doctor Who pilgrimage I do, which is starting, let's face it, 3 months from now.
Oh God! Really?
I want to watch it just to note down the instances that staircase shows up. It's literally everywhere. I've seen it in so many different BBC programs. It's a stock staircase. It's in Sea Devils, at least. It's at least in the Sea Devils. It's in other things. It's amazing.
So you're going to start calling out, well, you already are, starting calling out BBC furniture. You've run out of actors. It's now just furniture.
I know I've run out of actors to point out.
This is the most university forgotten building I've ever seen. Like every university's got one of these low brick junk holes.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, speaking of actors, Chris, who's this on the screen? Who's this handsome doppelganger you got walking upstairs here?
James Burke in Connections.
James Burke.
The joys of when Barry Letts directs and hires the same people.
Yeah. Well, there's his son-in-law, Andrew Staines, right there at the playing Gooch. But there's Christopher Burke.
Is that actually his
walking on
son-in-law?
screen. That's the son-in-law. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I missed that particular strain of green on appliances and scientific instrumentation.
Yeah. It's kind of like it was on the aesthetically boring hard-boiled eggs.
And
dude.
his suit jacket as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, can we just admire Robert Holmes? Like he creates like this huge backstory in Googe about his wife makes him lunch. They're hard-boiled eggs, and he finds them boring. Like just physically, aesthetically boring. It says a lot about Googe. He wants more in life, but his wife just hard boils eggs for him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have much life left.
No, he doesn't.
Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message you are about to hear.
Mm-hmm. I like hard-boiled eggs. He even has a look of disgust about it.
Nothing wrong with hard-boiled eggs.
I love them.
they're fine. I mean,
He's gotta have enough salt on them is all.
Yeah. No. Especially for Warren these days. But
Nope.
yeah,
Warren can't eat anything but air and water.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, boy, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
Fun being Warren, age 63, 64. I can't remember now, but
85.
This is just for the
85-year-old.
YouTube viewers.
Warren Fry. Thanks for gonna have to blur that out. Thanks, Warren.
Go ahead. Do some
All
work.
right, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Well, then don't sass off.
Yeah. That's
It's fantastic how the Nestine Thunderballs are compatible with 1970s
Yeah.
Well, he's
specifically
radio
British plugs.
telescope.
Yeah.
he's rigged it up. You can tell he's rigged it up. It's like a USB-C or something like that on it. I don't
In
know.
fact, and I'm sorry in advance, Brits, and the rest of Europe, but I got the little power adapter thing that Chris recommended I get for my upcoming trip to Glasgow. And every time I hit the switch for UK, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What is this?
I know.
Antiquated nonsense.
It's like they're like 8 feet apart. Like they're big, giant rectangle chunks you put in the wall. Like
I grew up in North America, so for me, it just makes more sense to have the two little prongs. But I just look at that, and I'm like, this is the most chunkiest, Doctor Who-iest looking thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, there aren't that many Doctor Who stories that deal with shaft angling.
Shaft angling? I don't want to know what that is. But...
He just said the shaft angling code.
Oh, okay.
I still don't want to know.
The one good thing about British mains outlets is they all have power switches.
I was going to mention they have power switches, which seemed odd
true.
to me at the time, but it's probably good. It's for all the power cuts that Britain has to deal with.
It also seems very British. It's like very redundant and kind of useless.
Oh, he's going to hypnotize him.
He does the hypnotizing eyes. About as Jacoby has the eyes too. I think those are the only two that really pull it off.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the writing in here, you've been agitating for a new assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Who says that?
The Brigadier.
I talk
People
like
in
that all the time. What are you talking
1971.
about?
Yeah. Agitating.
He is a free-thinking anarchist after all.
Mm-hmm.
The Brigadier?
No, the Doctor.
Doctor Who is, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at this pink jacket. All right, burgundy.
Well,
Has he got a pink jacket? What is
maroon, but
No,
Is it
I'm,
maroon?
I'm making a very strained comparison to the early Simpsons.
He was all in all black. Like his coat was black in every single episode in season 7, right? I'm thinking.
I don't remember.
I know I'm asking you too because you don't focus on fashion as much as I do. But
No, we're not special boys like you, spiral staircase obsessives.
yeah, I notice these things. I notice hair length. John Pertwee's hair changes from location, not necessarily in this story, but in other ones.
Here's my question, and I don't know if I want to answer this. What particular kink is Joe's choker indicating?
it's just a fashion thing.
It's just a fashion thing. 1971, baby. Or 81, depending
No,
on
I
your-
want people in the comments that don't exist except for us three to come up
Oh,
with
I
their own
see.
ideas.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Well, you're the fanfic writer amongst us. You tell us.
Yeah, I read about heads in the Star Wars museum. There's like handles and Davros in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
There's no kinky nonsense in that yet.
Yet.
Things were just worn for fashion back in 1971. Warren, you should know you were alive back then. We weren't.
Yeah,
You remember 1971?
I was at best a year old.
You were when this came out. You were less than 3 weeks old, I think.
Well, I should have been paying attention, clearly.
Yeah.
Speaking of alive and dead, only one of those 4 people are still around.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you have to? Wow. Yeah, everyone sadly dead. Sadly passed away, including this guy here. I don't know who he is. Remember comb overs? God, we should bring those back. Let's
No,
bring them
we
back.
shouldn't. I'm
Bring
not
back
gonna
comb
do it.
overs. I think it should be good.
Also, Katie Manning's less zest for life makes up for all these dead people.
That's true.
Here we go. This is a one ridiculous Time Lord.
I love that they make the first, one of the first Time Lords in Doctor Who, just a man from the Ministry. He just looks exactly like every other guy from the Ministry.
Now, the question is this better or worse than floppy collars in Genesis Daleks?
Well, at least he's kind of in disguise apart from appearing in midair, which is never really explained, which is great, actually. We never talk about this Time Lord a lot, do we? The fact that he just sort of pops in midair and floats. He zooms in on CSO, but...
He needs a name.
He's probably got a time umbrella or something.
The Bowlerman.
Yeah. Bowlerman?
Yeah, due to his hat.
The bowler. He could be a cricket person.
That Jackanapes. Beautiful.
Is this the first time we've heard the name Jackanapes in Doctor Who? It's a Robert Holmes line.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll have to tell us on your next pilgrimage.
Yeah, your Jackanapes pilgrimage.
I'll have a spreadsheet.
You can start a new blog. Spiral staircases and Jackanapes.
What you've got to do is, how many TVs do you have in your place? 4 in the living room. Like just put Doctor Who in. Like you haven't done this already.
No, I've already done it.
Have different pilgrimages going at different points, and it's take notes frenziedly, and then they'll find you with long fingernails and a giant beard and a little balsa wood spruce moose,
and you still won't have finished the chronic hysteresis.
No.
Yeah. My blog that I started in 2000. Remember the first gap year? Remember that?
Remember blogs?
Remember blogs? Yep.
To be fair, I have to renew Freiburg.com, and I don't. I haven't written anything in there.
They're back in blog form.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that social media is splintered and dying, I mean, let's all just do blogs again.
Sure, why not? If nobody's going to read my crap, might as well be on my own thing.
Yeah. Is that like a punch card tape or something that's been taped to the wall there? I can't... I think it very well might be.
Careful,
I love how the most advanced race in the universe comes up with some goofy string bomb.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Good old CSO. I love it.
That's time vortex energy surrounding him. That's what the book would have said.
It is quite something, given that CSO only comes into being like a year prior to this in the BBC anyway, because they moved to color. And Barry Letts is just all over it. Like, he uses it so much.
This guy's such a jerk.
Yeah.
What impish charm.
Mm-hmm. Love him.
Come on, squeeze on in there.
Yeah. This isn't really the most unique solution. It just says, okay, I'll just push the door and just catch it.
This is like when you park and somebody parks way too close to the car and you try to get out of the door so you don't hit their door.
Yeah. Because there's a bomb next to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good job, Pert.
Why isn't that bomb in the technical manual? It probably is. That prop was probably used several times over. Oh, look at that teletype. Glorious.
Yeah. Teletype.
Or whatever that thing is with the little paper coming out of it.
I don't know. A little ticker. Anybody here ever diffused a bomb before?
Can't say as I have, no.
Okay. Red core makes it look like a giant lipstick.
Yeah. Does good work, though. Does good work at pretending it's a bomb. A space bomb with proper screws in it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Space Beaver Lumber. There you go. There's a little callback for you.
Beaver Lumber, man.
You can get a T-shirt with the logo on it now.
Really?
Our friend Graham Burke has one.
I don't think Beaver Lumber is the thing anymore, are they?
No, they haven't. Long time they haven't.
Sure, they were bought out by Home Hardware or something. There we go. There's our Canadian old store contribution.
There'll be
to
more.
This. Yeah. Yep. Let's have a look. What's going on? What do you?
So is everybody dead here? I mean, actually dead. Not.
It's kind of sad.
I mean, probably.
Mm-hmm. Had one bite of his hard-boiled egg. That was it. It was the last thing he ever ate.
That reminds me when I'll watch movies from the 30s and you see extras and you're like, that guy was around during the Civil War.
Yep.
That's weird.
Oh, yeah, I know. Here we go. Look at this. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yep.
Who's that American president who had like a grandchild or something.
Oh,
who
still is John Tyler. John Tyler.
Who's alive 100 years after or something.
Oh yeah, wow, that's crazy.
His grandchildren, as of last report, they're in their 90s, but I think he's from like literally the 1840s or something. He was president, and he still has living grandchildren, or at least one living grandchild.
I've told this story before. I was in the Galapagos, and I saw this turtle that was like 200 years old. And you're looking at this turtle, you're going just chewing lettuce, having a time. Yeah, you're like, this guy was around when Napoleon was causing trouble. Like this guy right here, eating lettuce, just looking at me, going, "Who's this idiot who's going to die before me?"
And he never thinks about Napoleon either. That's a great thing.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
This guy, like, where's my lettuce?
I don't think Napoleon ever made his way to the Galapagos, did he?
No, I'm pretty sure he didn't. So really, that turtle won in the end.
Yeah. Although I do know that a ship chasing Napoleon's men in the sea, the ocean, which is a battlefield, of course, happened in Master Commander: The Far Side of the World. Filmed on the Galapagos. Or filmed near them at any rate.
Yates looks like, to quote the Capaldi era, a bony rascal in this.
Oh yeah, we already know that. Like, no, this is never going to happen between him and Joe. This is come on.
Quit shipping, show.
Let's get real. Yeah. I want an apron, a kitchen apron, and gloves that are just like that. That's basically half a Cyberman outfit right there.
Nothing's stopping you from doing this. You can go to Amazon right now and get those.
That's true.
Wouldn't do you any good, Stephen, but earlier today on Amazon, I was looking at like hot dog rollers like you'd see in a 7-Eleven.
What?
How much do those go for?
Why do you get... No, don't do that.
$300-$400.
Just go to 7-Eleven. Just go to 7-Eleven if you want hot dogs.
Speaking of which, my boss actually has a weather station. He lives in the country. So I'm actually curious how much a weather station costs on Amazon.
All right. Well, I've purchased a screen accurate passenger mask from Doctor Who Flux on Amazon because that's exactly the thing they used.
Yes.
About $50, not bad.
I've also purchased a cable knit sweater as worn by Mal Calamari, fisherman in season 2 of The Mandalorian. They got off of Amazon.
Not Mal. Come on,
that's man. Yeah, Mon Calamari. Sometimes I think, how can they use the same Mon Calamari and Mon Mothma? Is Mon Mothma a Mon Calamari?
Well, there's a Grand Moff Tarkin. None of this makes any damn sense. It's all made up on the fly, as you might have suspected.
Yeah, not by Karen.
I mean, the only people who really understand it are musicians or jizz whalers, as they're known.
I had to think twice about what you just said there, Warren, before reacting.
So anybody who's ever heard that or read it.
Bum-ba-dum, bum-ba-dum, bum-ba-da-da-bum-bum-ba-do.
I saw a funny thing on the internet today where somebody was like, okay, so George, what do you want in this cantina? There's got to be the hardest, baddest bounty hunters ever. What kind of music's playing? Oh, jazz, light jazz.
Well, I mean, if you don't have your shaft angling correct, you're not going to get your jizz whalers.
That's true.
Right.
I love this is a dumpster full of just milk crates for some reason.
Smashed by Wotan at some point.
Well, there's like plastic tubes.
Yeah.
Some trays, maybe. Great
they're
trays
all...
there.
I mean, it is a plastics factory, so I guess so, but...
Yeah. They're all sitting in a landfill right now.
Oh, Joe, you putz.
You klutz. That's what the character does. Need a kid to cause trouble.
He doesn't look happy.
Was this part of your escapology course, bumping into things?
Yeah, she's not very good at it. She's delightful, though.
She looks like she wandered in from Woodstock.
No, I'd say she wandered in from... She's very 1970.
Oh, yeah.
Having watched the Beatles get back in recent months, I think this is pretty much what people wearing back then.
She was in an ashram of some sort?
Yes, exactly that. She was ushering Harry Krishnas out of Twickenham Studios that George Harrison tried to drag in. Hey, it's John Levine. Look at that.
He's alive. Hooray.
Yeah, hey, some time recording. He's alive.
It's about time you put out another music album, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Well, I don't know. I think it's just a spoken word piece over Holst the Planet Suites, where he just talks about how great Douglas Camfield is. I think it's 47 minutes long.
I think it's going to be a long, long time.
There's Michael Wisher, by the way. I haven't pointed him out yet. And he's talking to Harry Taub. Harry Taub was in episode 1 of The Seeds of Death before he was unceremoniously killed by a sea devil.
Michael Wisher, star of The Sandbaggers, as an Arab person?
No, you're thinking of Stephen Grief,
Or
who
Alec
played
Guinness.
Travis in
Thinking
season one
Alec
Blake
Guinness
Stone.
from Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, you're thinking Alec Guinness and Blake. Let's go. All the great blackface performances.
Yeah, I know. It's,
in BBC
I love
history.
that movie. I think it's wonderful, and he is great in it. But damn, it is kind of a tough knot to
It's-
square.
That's where. Yeah.
It's kind
Same
of
with Anthony Quinn.
kind of interesting to see, like, because Michael Wisher was cast like how many times? Like he was in this, he was in
Ambassadors of
Revenge
Death.
of the Cybermen, Ambassadors of
Veg,
Death,
he was Carnival of
Carnival of
Monsters, Planet of
So
Evil.
all these things that aren't Davros, but we only ever think of him as Davros.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, let's face it, this is well, no, his biggest role probably prior to Davros is Carnival of Monsters.
I don't know if that's his biggest, but I mean, well, maybe it is.
Yeah, because he's like, he's the leader of the three who rule, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
CSO, brilliant. I mean, why build an entire set for that one shot?
Because it's totally unconvincing. That's why.
Well, that's true. But, let's also look at the fact that how many people had color TVs in 1971?
Well, yeah, true.
Hardly
I mean, this
anyone.
looks as good as it's going to look in the version we're looking at it now.
Yep.
And it looked a lot crappier even on color TV back then. So
I'm gonna have to put my my computer monitor to black and white for episode 2.
I know. I'm
Just to see
still
what
not
the
used to
CSO
it.
looks like in it.
Still not used to it.
So
Well, then you
the-
got to. It's been. It's got to unvid fire it too. That's.
Well, I was
going
gonna say the resolution and whatnot is still too good to.
well, Chris, if you're going to go whole hog, you got to throw some 1987 pledge breaks in there too.
That's true. I think
Specifically for KSPS.
when they made the Blu-rays for these, they really missed a beat and didn't include the initial low res copy black and white 16 millimeter film versions of them as an extra.
If you've
like
got all
the-
that room on Blu-ray, I want every single regional pledge break of the time. I want to be able to choose the year of my
Yeah.
choosing.
Well, they couldn't get the rights to Howard Da Silva. That's why they stopped putting those on the Blu-rays, on the DVDs. Anyway, Chris, you were saying.
Talked right over Joe clocking Yates.
Yeah,
Oh, well, we'll see it again.
We'll see it again. And the reprise for episode 2.
I apologize. It wasn't. It was the guy who plays Nider I was thinking of, not. That's the guy in Sandbaggers.
Oh,
right?
Peter Miles. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he's barely in blackface, but he's suggested to
he's
be
in the neighborhood.
He just puts on a non-English accent, and yeah. Different times.
Not good ones, but different.
No, not good ones, but times we had to go through. Ken Trueletter did costumes for the Sylvester McCoy era. Survival, I think he worked on. There you go. There's your fact of the day as we wrap it up. As we wrap up episode 1 of
Yep.
Terror of the Autons. Join us again next week, won't you, for episode 2 of Serial Code EEE, Terror of the Autons. Yeah. Until next time, I'm Stephen of Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.